You ever read a book that feels like, well, more than just a story? A book that's also a puzzle. One that asks questions so big they could literally change the way you see everything? Our journey kicks off with a plain envelope in a mailbox. Inside, there is a small note, and it asks the simple but just impossibly huge question: who are you? Now, this isn't just some random note. For a 14-year-old girl named Sophie, this is the start of everything. And just as she's trying to wrap her head around that first question, boom, a second letter shows up. This one's even more fundamental. And together, these two simple questions, they become the key to unlocking this massive philosophical mystery. And yeah, these are the opening shots of Jostein Gaarder's international bestseller, Sophie's World. What's so amazing about this book is how it masterfully weaves together a coming-of-age story, a genuine mystery, and a complete history of Western philosophy all into one. So this is where we meet our protagonist, Sophie Amundsen. She's living a totally normal life in Norway. That is, until these anonymous letters start showing up and turn her world completely upside down. The whole premise is just captivatingly strange, right? Sophie, with no idea who her teacher is or why in the world she was chosen, starts getting this secret philosophy course by mail. Chapter by chapter, the entire history of human thought gets delivered right to her doorstep. But look, this isn't about memorizing dates and names. This course is an exploration of thinking itself. It's like an invitation to rediscover that sense of astonishment we all had as kids. So, what even is this subject that's taken over Sophie's life? The book breaks it down really simply. Philosophy comes from the Greek words philo, which means love, and sophia, for wisdom. So at its heart, it is just the love for wisdom. That's it. Sophie's anonymous teacher tells her that the only thing you really need is your sense of wonder. It's not about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to ask the questions and to just be amazed by the world, a quality we are all born with. The book has this perfect metaphor for this idea. Imagine the whole universe is a giant magic trick, like a rabbit being pulled out of an empty top hat. Most of us, we get older, we just accept the rabbit and kind of settle into our seats. But the philosopher is the one who refuses to take it for granted, the one who's trying to climb up the rabbit's fur to get a good look at the magician. And Sophie's climb is epic. The course takes her on this absolute whirlwind tour of 3,000 years of Western thought. We're talking the ancient Greeks, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Then we jump to the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the Enlightenment with Kant, all the way to modern thinkers like Marx, Darwin, Freud, and Sartre. It's the whole shebang, an entire history of ideas, but made personal and really exciting. But just when Sophie is getting into the groove of her lessons, the mystery gets even deeper, and these cracks start to appear in her reality. The story shifts from a simple philosophy lesson into something way, way stranger. It all starts with a postcard. It's from Lebanon, from a UN peacekeeper, but it's addressed to a completely different girl, Hilde Knag, but care of Sophie Amundsen. All of a sudden, Sophie's world is tangled up with someone else's. So who is this other girl? We've got Sophie, our student philosopher, whose world we think we know. And then there's Hilde, a total mystery, whose life just seems to be bleeding into Sophie's. The question of how they're connected, that becomes the new central puzzle. And the answer to that puzzle is the book's most brilliant, totally mind-bending twist. The story is actually structured like a set of those Russian nesting dolls, with worlds hidden inside of other worlds. Okay, get ready for this. On the surface level, we, the readers, are just reading a book. Simple enough. That book? It's about a girl named Hilde Knag who's about to celebrate her 15th birthday. And what is Hilde reading? Well, she's reading a book, a special birthday present from her dad, about a girl named Sophie who's getting a secret philosophy course in the mail. So, here's the crucial point. Sophie's entire world, her house, her mom, her mysterious teacher, it's all just words on a page for Hilde. And this forces us, and Sophie, to ask a pretty terrifying question. How real can you be if you're just a character in somebody else's story? And here it is, the full reveal. Sophie and her teacher, Alberto, are creations of Major Albert Knag, who is Hilde's father. He is the author, he's the magician, the god of their entire universe, writing their story as a one-of-a-kind birthday gift for his daughter.
Now, with this reveal, philosophy suddenly stops being some theoretical subject for Sophie and Alberto. It becomes their only possible weapon, their only tool for escape. Think about it. By studying thinkers who questioned reality, consciousness, and free will, they slowly become self-aware. They start to realize they're just puppets in Albert Knag's grand story, and they do not like it one bit.
And their education gives them this 3-step plan for rebellion. First, they use that sense of wonder to question the reality their author built for them. Second, they use logic to understand the rules of their fictional world. And finally, they come up with a plan to assert their own free will and break out of the story completely.
And that leads to the book's ultimate, most powerful takeaway. Finding some kind of final answer isn't really the point. Instead, the book argues that the very act of asking, of searching and looking inward, that is what defines our humanity.
In this absolutely stunning climax, Sophie and Alberto actually succeed. They escape the book and become these spirits in Hilde's world, invisible but free. And the book leaves us with their final act of wonder, turning the lens right back on us. It forces us to ask, how often do we actually question the nature of our own reality? How much do we dare to climb up the rabbit's fur and look the magician right in the eye?